Charlie Chaplin character, the tramp, to introduce it, to kind of humanize it, when it's actually, you know, Chaplin was like, made a whole career out of sort of making fun of technology. And there it is with that keyboard. There was no mouse. It was basically a 19th century device, vaguely updated. And then, of course, in more recent times, we had the first attempt to kind of show a popular version of immersive experiences, or an artificial reality experience, augmented reality experience with Tom Cruise in Minority Report. And here, one of the apocryphal stories, perhaps, is that he had to shut down filming during that movie after about an hour of filming and doing all this crazy stuff because his arms were too tired. We call it gorilla arms, from basically running a spreadsheet. That's not the kind of immersive experience we really want. We want you to have high facility, and we want it to feel effortless, not effortful. So I'm going to talk to you about how I think, how we map out how you actually work in the world today and how you work with devices and computers today. Your brain, this forebrain up here, is actually really a lot bigger than just that. It's connected to your spinal cord. And your spinal cord is what carries information out to your muscles. Motor neurons up in the forebrain connect to those lower motor neurons in the spinal cord, and they turn muscles on and off. And that's how you move in the world. But then further, that's how you actually interact with digital experiences, with mice and keyboards and a touch screen or a Kinect as you move around, or even a microphone. All of those are just mechanical transducers. They take your movement, which is very slow, and transduce that to something that allows you to control this myriad field of digital devices, digital experiences. Whether it's VR, whether it's a robot or a drone, whether it's the IoT thermostat on the wall. We think there's a better way, and a more general way, of approaching this problem of control, of increasing your facility, increasing your output. And we call it intention capture. And yes, that's specifically meant to evoke motion capture. So I want to give you a hint of how intention capture works. I'll go a little bit deeper on it, and then we're going to show you some demos of actually how we do it. So what if instead of actually building these devices that transduce our movement in the world, instead we actually just listen to the electrical activity of those motor neurons, those neurons that are turning muscles on and off, and we directly translate that into control over devices. Just get those intermediate devices out of the way. Get the muscles out of the way. Your neurons are crazy fast and crazy high bandwidth. That's what we tap into. It allows us to now imagine new kinds of interaction that go beyond your actual physical body. What it would be like to have 6 fingers. Or what it would be like, even further, to kind of get way out there and say, what would it be like to have 8 arms? And to control them as if you were an octopus. The only way to do that is to tap into the immense capacity embedded in your brain, but which is constrained by your muscles. So I'm going to go into how we do it here. I'm going to do a little bit of neurobiology. So we have to decide what kind of neural interface do we want to go to. We decided first, we're not going to go and drill into the skull and listen to neurons up there. But what we did want to do is take advantage of something about motor cortex, which is that, and I showed you the brain there, now this is a slice in a view on the other axis to look at the way cortex is arranged. And this is a famous structure called the motor homunculus. And what this does is it gives you a sense of how much of your brain is dedicated to what parts of your body. And within this, you'll notice the largest density of neural output from your brain actually goes to your hands. The second most goes to your mouth. But your hands are the most skillful part of you. That shouldn't be that surprising to many people here. And it actually, the input to your hands from your brain dwarfs any other part of your body. It allows us to put this device on the wrist and actually extract the highest density of nervous signals in your body. So we take that down, those motor neurons and motor cortex, again, project onto the spine. Those in turn relay to motor neurons in the spine. These are single neurons, the largest cells in your entire body, goes all the way up, courses out, connects onto the muscle, and we're detecting it by the electrical response of the muscle. And what we do is we have this array of electrodes here, and we're able to deconvolve this very complex mixed signal into the component signals, which are the individual activity of individual muscles. And from that, we basically get a map of anything you would normally do in the world. Whether that's typing on a keyboard, swiping on a phone, moving a mouse around, that's all done by some combination of actions of individual muscles in the hand. There happen to be 14 in the arm that control your hand. Well, that's kind of interesting, but that just allows us to effectively virtually recreate everything you do today in the world. What we really want to do is go a little bit deeper. Inside the muscle are actually connections from hundreds of motor neurons, and this is the neurobiology I was warning you about. So when you actually go into the spinal cord, you'll notice there are these 3 motor neurons in the spinal cord, and they're connected to the muscle, the single muscle. And actually there's fibers in the muscle that receive input from a single motor neuron, these red ones, the blue ones, the purple ones. That collection is called a motor unit. Whenever a motor neuron is active in the spinal cord, it sends off something called an action potential. It's the 0 and 1 of the nervous system. It's how the code is generated. Whenever that 0 or 1 is sent from the spinal cord, that cluster of muscle fibers all respond at the exact same time. And with very clever signal processing and ML algorithms, we're able to actually separate out not just muscle from muscle, but neuron from neuron. So that now I no longer have to think about my muscles controlling my hand. I can now think about hundreds of neurons reassigned to control anything. The last thing we need to do is try to marry this to an ML concept I'm going to try with you for the first time. The goal here is not just to capture the motion that would result from the activity of a neuron. We want to capture the underlying intention. And you'll hear me say again and again, we don't care about the movements you make. We care about the neural signals underlying what would be movements. The heart of this, and what our company is basically staffed by our machine learning scientists who are taking the signals from individual motor neurons, which exist in their own network, and directly feeding those into a synthetic neural network, a DNN, if you will. And those neurons, these synthetic neurons, try to create a mapping to your intention. That intention would be me moving up or down, moving the cursor up or down. But now, try to take that to a more complex space, which we'll show you in these videos in a moment. What we're trying to take advantage of here is not just grabbing your intention, but giving you the feedback, just like that steering wheel would, the feedback that allows you to rapidly train yourself to control a new thing that doesn't have any mapping to your body whatsoever. We call that adaptation, and that's really kind of the secret sauce embedded in our technology. This ability for this artificial neural network to drive feedback to your nervous system and get into a tight feedback loop such that your neurons are directly interacting with an artificial neural network, which is then directly feeding back to you and allowing you to gain rapid control. So we say that intention capture allows us to decode the activity of real neurons, your motor neurons, using digital neurons. We have 2 different kinds of control we talk about. We talk about myocontrol and then neurocontrol. Myocontrol is when you're moving. Neurocontrol could be when you're moving, but it's really just the activity of your neurons. Myocontrol allows us to redo anything you would today virtually. Type, move a mouse, move a joystick, drive a car. Neurocontrol allows us to be an octopus. So we say that myocontrol is how we derive meaning from movement. So I'm going to show you now the demo part of this talk. And the first thing I'm going to do is show you our ability just from muscle mapping, how we can create a virtual hand. And what I want you to focus on isn't just that we can do like a gesture recognizer, is the hand open or closed, but the full continuous motion of the hand. This is a comically difficult problem, and it's really, like I said, the full dynamic range of motion, individuation of fingers, etc. You can see the device on my wrist there. It's an older device. Now, the reason we did this hand is because we thought, well, I should say this. This is what we mean by intention now. Notice, I'm able to move the hand. My hand's not moving at all. It only cares about the nerve and what the nerve is telling the machine to do. Here it's doing the forces that I'm generating. No camera could ever decode this. We actually can do this across pinches. We can calculate the forces across all the joint angles. Of course, the reason we did this work for a hand and a virtual hand is because we think it's critical. It's the entry point for immersive computing experiences in augmented reality and virtual reality. Your hands are the most skillful part of you. That's why we want it back in VR. Here I'm going to show you a little bit more abstract. What we're doing here is showing you like that you don't have to actually move to do any of this stuff. He's moving around here, and we call these Star Wars hands. He's got this little cursor he's moving that's mapped to his wrist, and instead of actually moving to kind of play with these objects and move them around, he's just doing sort of like a Star Wars Emperor thing. He's just like slowly flexing his hand and getting control over these objects. We want to have this sense of empowerment for you, that you get magical control over things even when they're at a distance. It's not the things that are just in front of you. We want you to learn a whole new kind of control, not the control you learned when you were a year old stacking blocks, but instead, if you were a Jedi, trying to stack blocks a mile away from you. This was from about a year ago. This is our first effort to do typing. I think that's me, you can see. Trying to say all your interface belong to us. This is the future. Now that were examples of some myocontrol, where we're mapping that out to muscles, and not just the movements, but the tensions that go into the muscles. This thing that we really never leverage in computing experiences today. Here we're doing something way more abstract. I don't know if the sound can be brought up on the presentation, but if it can, please bring it up. So here, this is my co-founder, Patrick Kaifosh, another Colombian neuroscientist, and he's not moving. You have to trust me that there's a band on his wrist right there, but he's playing Asteroids on a phone, the old arcade game Asteroids. So this is a game that has 2.5 degrees of freedom. You have to push buttons, you have to fly around, change the thrust vectors, move left and right at different speeds, and he has full control when he's not moving. He spent about 60 seconds training the machine. I want to emphasize this. This is not you learning how to control. This is you telling the machine how you want to control it. And that is the fundamental thing we've screwed up for the last century in our interactions with machines. Constantly improving the machines and asking us to learn them, not the other way around. Neurocontrol starts at the premise that you train a machine. I think this is exotic, and if your minds are not blown by that, personally not. I will tell you, sometimes this is the worst technology in the world to demo because it's just a video of a person not moving. And that should be the ultimate goal. This is our work to map this to different robotics, and here's the first biomimetic one, and then I'll show you the abstract one after this. This is Adam Burnsweg, also a Columbia scientist, and doing a little hexapod and mapping it for full continuous control over these things. Now the next thing is, again, you can move that hexapod. You can move a hexapod with just a joystick, but why would you do that? What you really want to do is do all 6 fingers. But you only have 5. Well, that's where neurocontrol comes through. We can solve that problem somewhat trivially. This is him taking care of himself, as he should, with a 7 degree of freedom, $50,000 Canova arm as a back scratcher. There we go. The next one, this is just a little continuation of that, where he's doing object manipulations. And you can think of this as, how would you train a robot to do something? One of the hottest topics in robotics is pick and place. And, one of the hotter topics is actually having them imitate humans and learn from humans about how to do things. Here, we're mixing biomimetic action, the movements that he's doing, with things that are more synthetic. Remember, that thing has like a 360-degree rotation across each joint. A human body can't do that. He can still control it through all of those motions because of neurocontrol. Because we're not trying to just map to what your hand is doing. We do a mapping to what your neurons do. And we basically don't care about this little device at the end of your arm. We care about what your neurons are doing. I want you to imagine for a second where we're going with this technology. Obviously, we'd like it to be something that just follows you around all day. It's just part of you, integrated into you, or onto you, I should say. The goal is for you to be the universal controller, not to have a universal controller. I want you to imagine like your phone just being a dumb screen as opposed to something you have to actually do something to, but where you have incredibly fine control over everything it's potentially capable of doing. It would be nice to actually write something on a phone rather than jot down a 10-word message because I've run out of steam. I want you to imagine what it would be like to actually have, say, a new Apple Watch where you're just one-handed writing a quick message there. You're not talking to it, you're not having to type. You're just doing it on one hand quickly and then moving on to your next goal. They should be always available. The keyboard should be you. You shouldn't have to go learn 52 different keyboards. I will tell you that typing thing that we showed you earlier is actually really fun. It was crazy to have it, like experience it the first time. And it really feels like it's your personal keyboard, like something you've never experienced before. We imagine, we imagine a new kind of productivity application. Imagine an architect working in AutoCAD, but instead of going to the palette sequentially to pick different interactions, instead they're blending all kinds of modalities together. The color picker and a rotation scheme all at the same time and simultaneously with full, high fidelity control. I think this has enormous implications both for productivity, but also just the joy of work, making it human-centric. So, I'll leave you with this. I'd ask you, what would you do? What would you dream about if you had more control? More control over devices, where you didn't submit to them, but they submitted to you. We're Control Labs. I would be remiss if I didn't mention that we are actually shipping this technology to developers in January. You should go to our site and sign up for a developer kit if you are super interested in it. If you're a student, you should submit a job application. We are recruiting aggressively. We're a company of 45 people. We are very well funded. We are looking for the best machine learning, neuroscience, and design thinkers in the world. Thanks much.
Meredith, thank you. That was, I was looking at the demos last night, because what I've seen online and the progress you've made is just incredible for the field.
Yeah, it's not continuous progress, it's very discontinuous. We had to, there just was giant steps. First from the hardware, when we finally got the hardware dialed in, so it was much, it was sort of invulnerable or less vulnerable to noise. These lights are a disaster for us, but we've actually created some pretty sophisticated technology to shield ourselves from the kind of environmental noise. Your body is a giant antenna that we're always trying to work around. But the signals that you generate are actually enormous, and like I said, we make these big leaps in functionality. From a year ago, this technology would be unrecognizable from what we see today, and how that's true for 6 months ago.
So I wanted to sort of continue, sort of a little extension of the talk you just gave. As a non-expert like myself, I think it's easy to conflate BMI versus BCI, and so I thought maybe you could spend a little time sort of discussing how you define those differences and where Control Lab sits.
So, I don't want to pretend that there's a field called brain-machine interfaces or brain-computer interfaces. There are people working in labs across the world who are predominantly focused on how do we go help people who have motor pathologies, like gross motor loss. They either have ALS or Parkinson's or some other profound motor loss that keeps them from being able to use these legacy technologies. And for them, a tiny little bit of functionality, like being able to move a mouse cursor, can completely change their lives. It gives them agency all over again. We'll call that the brain-machine interface world. We don't really see a difference from our perspective between what's called BCI and BMI. It's kind of a false dichotomy. They effectively mean the same thing. We think BMI is a better term because I really want to get across, this is technology for controlling everything. I want to control the thermostat on the wall as badly as I want to control a hexapod and make it go get me a glass of wine. We don't use either of those terms for ourselves. We use the term neural interface because we're interfacing with really what's called the peripheral nervous system, and we have a lot of reasons why we believe that is the most important place to interface. It is the natural output of your brain. That's where you evolved to control the world. And rather than kind of get gummed up by this 1950s science fiction view that all of your thinking happens up here and the rest of the brain is just sort of there waiting for commands. Instead, we say, well, let's just call it a neural interface for now, and that got gummed up in this argument about what is consciousness, where does your will live, etc. We know what evolution gave you, which is the ability to move your body, to control your hands via motor neurons. That's what we interface with, so we call it neural interfaces.
So in that sense then, now with Control Labs releasing SDKs in a kit this year, what would you say to the developers in the audience who are thinking of applications they want to design within the context you just explained?
The number one thing I'd say is forget the past. My experience as a grizzled old technologist all the way back to the 80s is that most startups and most companies think they're succeeding because they do something called translational technology. They bring up technology to market that plugs a gap that was exposed by some existing technologies, but they do it in some translational way. So it's, I'm showing you that keyboard that I have right there. Well, to the extent that that's like a QWERTY keyboard, I'm just trying to map to the past. But that's not what's really exciting. What's really exciting is a keyboard that doesn't really require me to move, and I can generate words as fast as I can speak just using one hand. Too much, but that's our goal. So try to forget the past. Don't try to create these translational experiences. I'd say where a lot of startups get ended up is thinking that that first success, if people are hungry for the translation ones, those are the ones they understand, is the right launching point. And what really ends up happening is that people end up getting into a corner that they can't get out of with their businesses or with their projects or with their products, where you're only addressing the legacy problem, but you're not really trying to look at the future.
So in terms of Control Labs and developers, should there be concerns now on sort of the social kind of impacts of this on the consumer? Any privacy issues that people should think about early on? How does it affect how you position your business?
So, I'm somebody who thinks of the contemporary mobile phone world as just a mitigated social disaster. Many of you may disagree with that, but that's what I think. So I like to think about technologies that can sort of break the lock in and make us more social. I would say it's hard for me to imagine a way in which the technology we're bringing to bear isn't more humanizing. The question is, are you really starting with this attitude of enhancing human output, human power, human control, or are you trying to force people to learn how to manipulate a machine, increasingly complex machine? That's where I want to drive us. The more control we have, the more energy, the more cognitive energy we have to be the social animal that we are fundamentally. Like I said, it takes effort to type on a phone. It takes a tremendous amount of effort. Like you have to correct the autocorrector. What's left to actually be social at that point? I'll leave it there.
Is there an industry you have in mind that you think we should avoid right now? Is there a specific application you say this would not be something we're ready for as society?
Well, for instance, we really are rapidly focused on 8 billion people, and we're not a particularly good technology for a lot of clinical populations. So folks that have profound motor loss, unfortunately, aren't well addressed by this because we're actually losing these motor neurons that are otherwise aberrant in a lot of motor pathologies. It is a question we get all the time. We're going to use this for prosthetics, etc. Our belief is if we do a great job addressing common consumer scenarios, the benefit to clinical researchers and clinical solution providers is going to be enormous. They'll get the downstream benefit from this. Rather than turning on its head, which is where we've been in the neuroscience world, of trying to solve everything by the pathology first. And then say, well, if we solve the Parkinson's pathology, that will have